unpredictable Bulls strike again in a win over the New York Knicks, a game in which the Chicago Bulls led throughout most of the game. We're going to talk about it, break it all down, have some fun. But first, we've got to play that winning intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red, yeah, I see red, I see red, I see red, I see.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod with every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's break down this game. The Chicago Bulls with a win over the New York Knicks. It got a little close down the stretch of that game. 108-100 is how the Chicago Bulls ended up winning this game. This did turn into another clutch game for the Chicago Bulls. And unfortunately, the Bulls now have played over half the total games played this season have been clutch games for the Chicago Bulls. So take that from it for what you will. The Bulls win the rebounding battle 57-38 in this game, which allows them a lot more second chance points and just way that they attack this New York Knicks team. 62 points in the paint by the Chicago Bulls in this game. 16 second chance points in this game as well for the Chicago Bulls. And that's really how they won this game, playing with a quicker pace, but that coming via how they played defense in the game. They shot the ball 47% from the field, and then on that, they had 26 assists on 44 made baskets, which is really nice assist-to-basket ratio as well for the team. JaVonte Green leads the team in scoring in this game, which was huge. 71% did JaVonte Green shoot it from the field overall, going 10-14 from the field. He had 13 rebounds in this game, 25 points in this game. DeMar DeRozan with 20 points as well and 10 assists. He had a double-double as well. And then you also got to chip in Nikola Vucevic with 16 and 13 in this game. But we had 4 Bulls going double-doubles in this game, and that was just a crazy number overall in this game and how the team overall performed in it, man. You got to give them their credit. Andre Drummond with the double-double off the bench as well with his 10 points, 16 rebounds. He's the 4th Bull to have a double-double off the bench. A double-double in this game, but you cannot overlook Ayo Dosunmu. Even though he didn't have a double-double, he had 24 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists in this game, 2 steals as well from Ayo Dosunmu, who was our second leading scorer in this game. How did the Bulls win this game? They won it through energy and their defense first. Their defense, which made it easier on their offense to score points, and that's how efficient they were with that. And so we already know how the Bulls can be effective, and we've talked about this so often. JaVonte Green in this game, especially with Kobe White going down, played 33 minutes. And if you're talking about and asking the question, is the JaVonte Green effect something that's real? It's real. How sustainable it is, that's a different question. But in the 33 minutes that JaVonte Green was on the court for the Chicago Bulls today, they had a net rating of 14.7, a plus-minus of +10, and a defensive rating of 97. Anything sub 100 is damn near an elite defensive margin there. The Bulls had a true shooting percentage of almost 56% when he was on the field. They got 87% of the defensive rebounds, 45% of the offensive rebounds as well when JaVonte Green was on the court. He definitely is impacting winning. And like I said before, I told you guys, hopefully you kind of expected and understand it at this point. But with JaVonte Green back now on the Chicago Bulls bench, playing the way that he has, Ernold up the team is not going to play a whole hell of a lot of minutes. Julian Phillips, if and when he does come back from injury this season, he's not going to play a whole hell of a lot of minutes. This is turning into the JaVonte Green, Torrey Craig, and Andre Drummond show coming off the bench with a little bit of Dalen Terry in there as well. And what does that unit do well? Defense. That the defensive unit for the Chicago Bulls, and if you look at it over the last couple of years, when the Bulls defense has played when the Bulls bench has played its best, it's really been through the defense. Now, different cast of characters sometimes. Alex Caruso, when he actually is allowed to come off the bench because he doesn't have to start power forward with us, keeps that going as well. Also, Ayo Dosunmu, but the bench unit for the Chicago Bulls today played really, really well in their minutes. Dalen Terry even playing 12 minutes in this game. So it's good to see the bench unit be able to, not necessarily keep up the offensive pressure, but to create good offense through their defense. And so that's something that's big for the Chicago Bulls. And, especially when you look at getting into playoff type games and atmosphere, it's going to be really good to see if the Bulls can keep that type of thing up. So, just good to see overall out there. Got to give it credit for how they did it. And the 13 minutes with Andre Drummond and JaVonte Green, they played 13 minutes and 39 seconds. The Bulls had a defensive rating of 65 with JaVonte Green and Andre Drummond out there. They also got 64% of the overall rebounds with those two players on the court. So that's something to also take a look at. That how Drummond and JaVonte Green play together and just really help that team put that pressure on defensively. And then when you add Alex Caruso to those other two players, lineups with those three players had a defensive rating of 57. So again, we know that the Bulls kind of key because they can score, right? Even though their offense isn't the most modern, we know that the Bulls they can score. But when you have a defensive unit that can really put the clamps on the offense of the other team, specifically guard that three-point line better, which we did a fairly good job at tonight against the New York Knicks. They only shot the ball 34% from three-point range, which is solid enough. 10 three-pointers they made in this game. But when you have a unit that can switch, because Billy Donovan does like to run his switches, having those three players out there together, almost no matter what the other combination is, it's going to allow kind of more that fluid switchability that Billy Donovan likes to run, which helps create turnovers. And again, the overall message in this is create easy offense for the Chicago Bulls is what that does. So that's really good in this one. Also want to give out some accolades to the New York Knicks, even though I hate the Knicks. But Jalen Brunson is a dog. Like, I'm glad that the Bulls were able to win this game, but 35 points, going 13 of 28 did Jalen Brunson. Also 11 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. Jalen Brunson just is all heart, man. And, it's really always fun to see a player like that play, even if it's not on your team. And, considering the different lineups and things that they had to do in that game, Jalen Brunson just being such a dog, man. Got credit to the Knicks and credit to Tom Thibodeau for how he's coached that team up. But fuck him. That's it. That's all I have good to say about the New York Knicks, because I hate the Knicks. I hate the Knicks franchise. I love their players, though. I love Josh Hart. I love OG Anunoby. I like Isaiah Hartenstein. I love Jalen Brunson. I got to give them the credit for how they played. But now I'm done with that. We're back to being meathead Bulls fans. Fuck the Knicks. Take that with you. Take that loss with you to New York. We'll see you again in a couple of days. Hopefully you don't kick our ass then. But the Bulls, man, gotta love the heart that this team played with tonight. And the JaVonte Green impact and effect, however, or whatever you want to call it, like I said, it's legit. And it's hard not to acknowledge how legit it is, because not only does it pass the eye test, but it also passed the statistics test. And that's the thing that makes it stand out. You can pass the eye test and maybe not have the impact that it feels like you have, but when the statistics back that up as well, it's kind of hard to deny that. The JaVonte Green impact is real. And how much can this stay up for the Chicago Bulls? That's the bigger question, right? Does he keep this up, right? Does the team keep playing this well? It's kind of easier when you have a player that's fresh, that is out to prove something, come back, everybody kind of feeds off that energy. Yeah, there's only 5 games now left for the Chicago Bulls, so we'll see how they perform over those last 5 games. But if this team can keep responding with this type of energy, this is identity. Now, it has to be sustainable for us to say it's our identity, but this is identity. The way that the Bulls played today is the way that a team can have identity, and it came through fighting on the defensive side of the ball, fighting over screens, moving without the ball, playing that defense. That's how it came to the Chicago Bulls. And so, let's hope that this continues. This brand of basketball is crazy right now. And I'm glad to see that this team was able to pull out this win. Now, for the negative side of the business, we'll get into your guys' comments here in a second, but we got to get into the negative side of the business. Unfortunately, Kobe White did go down with an ankle injury. He did not return in this game, in the second half of the game. And I hope that it's just a precautionary measure. We know that he had some issues with his hip. He also had an issue, I think, earlier in the season with the foot. No, because he didn't miss any other time than that. Might be thinking about somebody else. But, prayers up to Kobe. Let's hope that it's nothing long-term. We don't want any injuries. We want Kobe to be able to finish this season strong. And, Kobe White, as much as I am a Bulls fan and I love Kobe White, I love the season that he's had, he's probably out of that most improved player of the year conversation, unfortunately, with his recent slump. And if he does miss any other time, but, it is what it is. Kobe's our most improved player. we know the impact that Kobe White had for us, but we hope that he's able to have a speedy recovery to get back on the court for the Chicago Bulls as we look to end this season strong over our last 5 games. And so, this it's been an interesting stretch for the Chicago Bulls, man. They now move to back to 3 games below 500. I don't say that to say they can still get to 500 or above. I'm just saying that that's where we are. 37 wins right now on the season with 5 games left to go. We play again on Sunday against the Orlando Magic, which is a team that's given us fits. And then you look at next week. Next week we have 4 games over 6 days. 4 games over 6 days. We got the New York Knicks, the Detroit Pistons, the Washington Wizards, and the New York Knicks again to end our season on April 14th. So that's something to look out for as well there, and how difficult that's going to be for the Chicago Bulls. But hey, we'll see, man. Hopefully the Bulls are able to get a dub. Hopefully they're able to keep playing the way that we've seen them play. But this was a great win. This was a fun game. This was a playoff atmosphere type game. The United Center was rocking and rolling. You heard how loud that was and how much that crowd was in the game. And that's why playing with that energy is important as well. Because when you do that, your crowd gets in the game, which then becomes an extra advantage for you over your opponent when you're on your home court. So that was also good to see, and something that I just want to acknowledge as well from this team. But let's go ahead and get into your guys' comments, see how you guys are feeling about this, man. We got Maurice for the first one up. He says, C-Red, my boy, Io went off. Io played much better first half than second half. Not to say better, but he scored more in the first half than the second half. But he played a great game as well. Solid defense all throughout. I love the fact he didn't back down from Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson, who still scored 35 points, but shot the ball not overly effectively. And part of Caruso, Io, their defense on him definitely played a part in that. Terry Bailey said, I take JaVonte over Pat Will moving forward. Well, unfortunately, I get where you're coming at with that. But, let's be clear. Patrick Williams' ceiling is still higher, but that doesn't mean Patrick Williams is going to hit it either. So I knew their asses were going to win, but remember, they can't beat the Pistons and Wizards. But holy shit, JaVonte Green is one bad motherfucker. Hey, JaVonte played great today. Yeah, it's hard to knock JaVonte for how he played. Both AC and Kobe left the game with ankle issues. We'll see. Who misses nearly a year of basketball due to lengthy knee injury, and on the 3rd game back breaks multiple career records? JaVonte Green, that's who. Well, I mean, the thing is, JaVonte has been playing in the G League, so he hasn't been completely out of basketball for a year, but he's definitely fresh, and you can definitely feel that energy. He is ready to show the world what he can do for the Chicago Bulls. Dwight Ball, that's crazy. Says GOAT, shout out to you. That's crazy. Chris Corvinio in the building. Says 5 JaVontes. Absolutely 5 JaVonte Greens out there, man. Melvin says, people complaining about Acme not giving JaVonte a spot early in the season has to understand he had those questionable knee issues to the point where no one thought he was going to play this season. I don't think anybody thought it was going to be a slow recovery, right? And he wasn't ready to play at the beginning of the season. That's why he was down in the G League. JaVonte Green was not ready to play at the start of the season. He just wasn't. And those same people who are saying why again, it's all reactionary. They're saying why Acme didn't sign him at the beginning of the season. Had they did, they would have been the same ones complaining about running the whole same roster back. So it comes with the territory. JaVonte was out. He was able to go in rehab with Golden State, still earned some money over that time. And now he's back in the Bulls uniform, which is the most important thing, right? So yeah, let's keep it going. Cannon Peacock in the building says, Green, I feel you, bro. Green. I remember when the Philadelphia 76ers used to have that sound effect for Willie Green. But so, Haize, do you think we should start Green in the starting lineup or keep him on the bench? I said this at the halftime hangout, and I don't mean this like come at you. So I'm just talking. You guys know I'm very blunt. I don't understand why when something's working, the first thought from some people is to change it. JaVonte Green right now is working off the bench. Let it keep working. Now, if you run into a situation, a scenario where it stops working as effectively, then yeah, look to make a change. But right now, JaVonte Green has built up chemistry. Well, he already had chemistry with the team, but he's playing great. And having that type of energy and performance coming off the bench, it keeps pressure on your opposing teams. And that's not to say Alex Caruso can't also play good off the bench, because we know that he can. But the energy that JaVonte brings off the bench, it's not to say Alex Caruso doesn't bring that same energy. So no, right now I would say leave JaVonte Green off the bench as long as it's still working. If something changes, then yeah, you look to maybe make a move, right, and go with something different. But I mean, knock on wood, let's hope Kobe doesn't miss extended time, because if Kobe does, you may have to move JaVonte Green into the lineup anyway. Ringside Perspective says we should have never let JaVonte leave in the. Yes, he was hurt. It wasn't guaranteed that he was going to be able to play this season. Yes, you should have let him go. Are you guys tired of paying for players that are injured? I'm just wondering. If you're tired, like, listen, you got the best of both worlds. JaVonte Green was not ready to play at the start of the season. He was able to go away and rehab, and guess what? When he proved that he was ready to play basketball again, he came back home. It's okay. The prodigal son returns. Sometimes it's good to let people go, and then you bring them on back, right? That's just what it is. They say if they really love you, they'll come back, right? So it is what it is. A breath of fresh air. The Green is, without him, the Bulls lose this game. I mean, yeah, especially in this game. I completely agree with you on that. I don't know what the Warriors didn't see JaVonte Green, but like I mentioned earlier, it may have been the knee issues that were a concern to give him a spot. Yeah, that it was the knee issues. That's 100% of what it is. Remember, for 1 month's level C red message, should Green and Drummond start or come off the bench? I kind of just answered that. I think you keep bringing them off the bench personally. I don't see Billy Donovan benching Nikola Vucevic. I just don't see. And Vucevic hit some really big clutch threes for us as well in this game. Jimbo Jr. says this team is worth the luxury. No, come on, bro. Like that. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. I get it. We all hype right now, bro. But this team ain't worth paying the luxury tax, fam. You think Josh Hart reached the stat line or Scott Foster's prop bet? What a ridiculous call. That was really strange. Really strange. Like I said, I'm a Bulls fan. I hate the Knicks, but I don't think he technical, yes. Should he have been ejected for that? No, I don't think he intentionally tried to kick somebody in the head. I don't think that he did that. Josh Hart isn't, I don't get that vibe from Josh Hart, and I don't think he did that intentionally personally. Terry Bailey says you're right. Green, Terry, Craig, and Drummond are a good defensive group. Really good defensive group. Really, really good defensive group. So let's see. Let's hope that continues, man. It's so crazy how ever since JaVonte Green came to Chicago, he has proof that there's no reason players shouldn't be moving without the ball. Only reason other guys don't simply is hustle and effort. Sports Prodigy, listen, I don't know if this is your first time here or not, brother or sister, because I guess I don't know who you are, but I'll say this. Moving without the ball is fundamentals for basketball for a reason. When you move without the ball, you keep the defense from setting in. With especially since the Chicago Bulls aren't a good three-point shooting team, if you let a defense set in and pack the paint with you because you're not moving without the ball, it's going to be difficult to do anything. You create easy lanes to the bucket. You create easy open shot opportunities out on the corners. There's everything about basketball becomes easier when you move consistently without the ball. And JaVonte Green is a great point in pointing that out. So assuming we're trying to stay competitive, need to trade Zach and Lonzo, investing over. Nobody's going to take Lonzo's contract right now. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Nobody's taking Lonzo Ball's contract now. If he's playing, he's going to be for the Chicago Bulls. I'm sorry I'm late, but I was so busy talking shit to the New York Knicks podcast. I'm sorry I love beating the Knicks. I can't resist it. I know that makes me lame. That's funny. I mean, hey, troll hard, I guess, brother. Yeah, but that last quarter, he was flopping like Chris Paul. That shit is garbage. You talking about Brunson? Finally getting a clutch three from Vooch, who was dead last, 94 out of 94 in the NBA, who tipped. Yeah, I know. I saw the stat too. Yeah, all you're saying is you saw the tweet. I got you. But yeah, it was really good that Vooch hit those threes. We needed that. So JaVonte deserves a contract for next year. I'm sure Caruso appreciates a guy like him on the team to make his job a lot easier. Also, I feel like DeMar played the entire game. How many minutes did DeMar DeRozan play today? That's a great question, because DeMar was out there a whole hell of a lot today. What happened to my Jesus Christ? I'm getting old. Dun, 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 dun. Why is my computer? My computer's moving slow. Like it's getting old. It's a brand new computer. 42 minutes from DeMar DeRozan today. 42 minutes from DeMar DeRozan. That's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, he's checking you out from Aruba. See Red, go Bulls. Well, thank you, T Scott. Thank you for checking us out, brother. We appreciate you, man. Stephen Lewis says, should Green and Drummond start the next couple of games? No, I kind of already answered that. So I think he still gets most improved player. Who else would? Maxey. And again, I think that Kobe White has improved way more than Maxey, but for the narrative, right? Don't forget, narratives do play a part in that. I think they probably give it to Maxey. A solid win for the Bulls, but prayers out to Kobe White, man. Us Bulls fans can't catch a break. It's always something, bro. It's always something. Give Leroy Carter's contract to JaVonte. It's not that simple. Like, what are we talking about? Remember, I was saying how good it is to have a baller, simply Hooper. Green has always been my guy. Yeah, Green. He plays with a lot of heart, man. Not having Kobe be such an offensive threat on the floor made it a lot more difficult for everyone else to score. I mean, yes and no, because Kobe still's always been a solid passer. But yeah, I mean, when you talk about not having Kobe out there at all, yeah, it takes away a whole dynamic, right? Because Kobe's also one of the people who can stretch the floor the most. Regardless of what we do this offseason, Arturas and Eversley need to try to re-sign and lock in JaVonte long term. He can provide a much needed spark and energy whenever needed. Here's what I say, and I know that not everybody's going to agree with this. I'm going to say this. JaVonte Green's playing great for the Bulls. But you can't say that no matter what, he deserves a contract, because it does matter, and especially when you're up against the luxury tax, how you build that team out. Now, I think that JaVonte Green is the type of player that can play on any roster possible. So, yeah, there's a reason to believe that. But I can see if the Bulls do bring back, let's say they do re-sign DeMar DeRozan. Let's say they sign Patrick Williams to a new contract extension. At that point, you're right up against the luxury tax. And unless you draft a big, which if you do draft a big, okay, then maybe you let Drummond walk, but you got to be prepared. There's a complete world and possibility that you're talking about either JaVonte Green or Andre Drummond. I know people are going to say, but what about Javon Carter? We can let him go. No, he has a guaranteed contract next year, and it's highly unlikely anybody takes that unless you can include it in like a bigger trade for like a Zach or whatever. So there's a possibility that he may not come back. Now, I think that I'm leaning towards him definitely being back, but I won't say that it's for sure that they bring him back no matter what. I can't say that with how tight they are up against the luxury tax. So the more I watch the Bulls, the more I see we're a team that be hard to beat in 7 games. No, that's just not true. I get where you're getting at with that, and I understand the thought process behind it because we're a clutch team. But here's the thing. Teams are so much better than the Bulls. They can make it to where it's just not a clutch game. So then what? Right? They could just make it to where it's not even close to being a clutch game down the stretch. Now, what are we talking about? Right? So I get where you're coming at, but keep in mind, we're also going to be coming up against the Boston Celtics, which have the highest point differential and one of the best defensive teams that the league has seen. So I can't get with that last part, but hey, where do things have happened? What happened to Kobe, y'all? Missed the game. Ankle injury, tweaked his ankle. Yo, Haize, who would have thought that when JaVonte first came back, you said that he may not play to this? Well, I mean, Billy Donovan said he may not play. That's when I said that, I was going off what Billy Donovan said before JaVonte Green's first game. He said he may not play. So, and he didn't play that first game either, I don't think. So, double big lineup seemed to be used as a weapon instead of reaction to being undersized. Still not great, but it seems like they're getting more in sync with it. Let's take a look at that. I want to take a look at the on off. So they played 8 minutes together today. They had a plus minus of 0, so that's even. They had a defensive rating of 120. Okay, that's not bad. They had a rebounding percentage of 64%, 75% of defensive rebounds. Yeah, I mean, and they played with the pace of 88.7 with those two on it, which isn't bad for a double big lineup. Good point there, Joe. Good point there, brother. Vooch had an okay game, but he definitely needs to move on to a new home. He always looks like he's odd man out off offense and defense. He's a round peg in the square hole. Well, I won't say that necessarily because, again, part of what you're seeing on offense, Vooch is always going to be who he is defensively. So no arguments from me there. But offensively, it depends on what the Bulls do. If DeMar does leave in free agency, then I think you see a more effective Vooch in offense just because that him and DeMar start their offense from the same places. So if you eliminate that, and if let's say you replace DeMar with somebody who is more apt at shooting threes and can play off ball a little bit more, I can see a world in which Vooch looks a lot better offensively than what he has this season. Now, I'm not saying he's all of a sudden going to start shooting the three better, but I just mean from the other things on offensive side of the ball. Protocol Son, perfect example. I agree with that. I'm extremely worried that JaVonte has taken OB under his wing because that's the only explanation for all these damn pump fakes. That's crazy. Let's keep Javon Carter away for Ernolap Bitim. Like, keep him away. Keep him away, please. Beating the Knicks feels great, but at the same time, deepens the pain of losing to the Hawks. Listen, every game it's its own thing. We got to move on. Green does the little things that our young guys don't want to do. He moves without the ball, attacks the offensive rebounds, fight for defensive rebounds, follows the tip in. Follows the tip in is a wild line there, my boy. Wild line there, my boy. Defends well and more. Goddamn, like JaVonte Green is as an energy in the back end of the bench player, you can do a lot worse than JaVonte Green. And listen, I say this, like, JaVonte's a dog, man. Could Kobe be the most improved next year? He kind of ruined his chances since his numbers were great this year. I mean, you never know, right? Tyrese Maxey's numbers were great this year, but he's the front runner per odds to win the most improved player. So you never know, right? Hey Haize, what's your thoughts on keeping who from the current team for next season? We really need some interior toughness next season. We'll talk about that as we get closer to the off season. So I know you don't want to hear this, but you have to say the Knicks execs have shown Acme how to build a team. No, I mean, what are you talking about? I've literally given the Knicks credit all year, right? When I remember when T'Challa, dumbass, who called himself the savior but couldn't save himself from a plastic bag, was saying, "Oh, well, the Knicks, oh, wow, we're better than the Knicks." I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. No, we're not. Like, the Knicks have shown exactly how you continually add to the team and not rest on your laurels, right? They ever since they got Jalen Brunson, even before they got Jalen Brunson, right? They started stacking, right? Started getting talent. They made their move for Jalen Brunson. And since they made their move and got Jalen Brunson, they've been very aggressive at keeping on improving the team. You got to love it. You got to love it. And you got to acknowledge it, man. Double bigs worked at the end. Yeah, I mean, let's just say it. It worked more than it didn't, for sure. I mean, it definitely did. Nasty ass dog, bro. You over here farting? That's crazy. Follow the tip in is a wild line, bro. That's a wild line, man. Yeah, but Tibbs run his teams into the ground for real. Well, not as much with this New York Knicks team. And you know, when they're fully healthy, they're not as fully healthy. They haven't been for a while, but I would say this. Tibbs has done a pretty good job at spreading out the minutes. Now, Josh Hart plays a lot of minutes for the teams, as does Jalen Brunson, but I think he's done a pretty good job at spreading that out. And that's part of why it's good what the Knicks done as far as building depth into that team as well. Last game, there wasn't 5 JaVontes out there. Or today's game, there were 5 of them, and he came to the rescue. That's a fact, George. I yelled out loud when I heard Green was signed. His energy is contagious and helps every single aspect of the game, every single game. Thank you for giving him props and analysis. Love your channel, bro. I thank you for that, Double O. Thank you for that. That's also what I give my women, Double O. I think JaVonte been here. I think JaVonte being here next year will help Julian Phillips and Dalen with his energy and cutting to the basket, offensive rebounding, and getting lobs in that dunker spot. I know we like to think that having somebody out there is like, oh, bam, you got this guy that's going to rub off. Like, not everything's necessarily learned through osmosis. And what JaVonte Green has is just a mentality that he has. You can't necessarily teach a player to just adapt your mentality. But those two players, both Julian and Dalen, have tons of potential, and that's why we have a player development staff. So, I know Io has been having a good year, but I really like what he did defending Brunson tonight. Oh, facts. Love what Io did. And, you know, I mean, that's especially smaller guards where he has that size advantage. He's always really good at doing that. So, I mean, you held him below 50% shooting for the night. Like I said, it wasn't a awfully shooting night per se, going 13 of 28, but it wasn't what Brunson usually does. And he was 1 for 5 from three-point range. So, yeah, we held the Knicks to 10 of 29 from three-point range. But best believe they're going to come out for blood when we play them again next. So I know Iowa's been having a good year, but I really like what he did defending Brunson tonight. Yeah, I just read that one. Yes, I agree. The Knicks are also going to get Donovan Mitchell at some point. I wouldn't say that that's a foregone conclusion. I won't say that. They could have already had him, but they kind of moved off that. So I won't say that that's for sure going to happen. But I will say that if the Cavs make him available this offseason, that's definitely something that could come down the pipeline. But to me personally, I kind of think that if that does happen, it kind of makes them an easier team to guard, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. So Tibbs runs most of his. No, he doesn't. They've just had injuries. They don't. When you look at them being close to fully healthy, he doesn't. They run basically the same amount of minutes that most teams run their players. That's just not true. I agree with you, Haize, and understand our financial restraints could put him on any team in the league. We need hardened toughness, and his impact will be more impactful with a more modern built squad. But that's the thing. The way that JaVonte Green plays, we haven't been modern built. He's been still great for us. So I got to fight back on that a little bit. But I understand what you're getting at. Hope AC and Kobe are okay. Let's hope so, bro. Like, we don't need no more injuries, especially at this point in time. If we're trying to keep doing what we think that this Bulls team is trying to do. But like I've said before, even if it does happen, let's say Kobe and Caruso do miss out. They don't play in the plane and the Bulls get fucking eliminated. It's not necessarily the worst thing. Not the worst thing out there. So not for where the Bulls are is what I'll say. So, but yeah, man, good win for the Chicago Bulls. Excited to see it. Glad they were able to pull it out the way that they were, man. Haize says this team is so random. That's when you don't have any identity. That's when you don't have any identity, and that's where you get that randomness. And yeah, it's a bipolar team, man. It's unfortunate. Somebody's one titty Ani going crazy right now. That's crazy. First off, the fact that Eads ran in with the one titty auntie is crazy. The reason why I said you don't want to hear this is because I was giving the Knicks praise, but they are running circles around Acme. Yeah, no, I mean, I hate the Knicks, but that doesn't mean I can't acknowledge right. Like, right is right. Glad to see you, Haize. What's going on, Eads? Glad to have you in the building, brother. Hope you and the family's doing good, bro. Thinking about if Drummond comes back next season, a bench filled with Caruso, Io, Craig, Terry, Drummond, Green looks beast. You're not going to have, that's the thing. You're not going to be able to bring all those guys back. I can tell that right now. So, and keep in mind Lonzo too, but you're not going to be able to have that. They're going to have to give up something. Somebody ain't coming back because you still got to make room for your first round pick as well. So, Vooch kept losing Hartenstein near the end there, focusing on the ball handler instead. Yeah, I mean, we know Vooch's defensive IQ is absolutely god-awful trash. With no significant changes, we will be just a mid-tier competing for a play-in first round, 11 picks onward for the next few years. Face purple cry, that's funny. You're stressed, bro. You're stressed, man. Listen. Billy who's hottest at the end of the games. It's the recipe for success. Yeah, to a degree. So we'll see. We'll see. But all right, guys, man, thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. This was a fun game. And we'll see back on Sunday. Who do we face Sunday? Who do we face on Sunday? I don't even know off the top of my head anymore. Like, at 5 games left in the season, man, I tell you what, this has been such a weird damn season for the Chicago Bulls. I can't even front on y'all. Like, I'm just, y'all saw it in the pregame show who were there. We faced Orlando Magic on Sunday. We're at the Magic on top of that. That's going to be an interesting game. That's going to be an interesting game. Hopefully the Bulls come in prepared, man. They play like they did today. The sky's really the limit, man. So we'll see. We'll see. But all right, y'all, man. I love you guys. Oh, wait. Corn's in the building. I'm just happy, bro. WrestleMania weekend and going into the Bulls winning blessings. Yeah, WrestleMania weekend is going to be fun as well for those that watch. Yeah, and we still got the Final Four as well. Like, this is a fun weekend. Everything kind of happens this weekend, man. Make sure you guys stay tuned in, man. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel as well. Trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Also, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag episodes are Saturday and Sunday mornings. They're part of the daily episodes. The number to leave that is 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like in every episode on Go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all.